The following is a paid commercial program. The views expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its sponsors, advertisers, staff, management, or ownership.
Good morning. You are listening to News Talk 730 KYYA. It is time for Let's Stay Healthy Montana, brought to you by Montana Harvest Food and Supplements. Montana Harvest specializes in gluten-free, GMO-free, organic, and concentrated food sources of dense nutritional value. And they have people who actually help you. So if you need to get healthy and you want to help take your life back, get on over to Montana Harvest Food and Supplements. Give us 30 days and we'll give you your life back. Here's your host, Joe Gary.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Let's Stay Healthy. I'm Joe Gary along with Tammy, and we have Brian Bird with us today, our special guest. We're going to get right to the show here in a minute, but Tammy, are there any announcements?
There is. Lachelle Meininger is going to have a live blood analysis in the store Thursday, November 10th. So be sure and phone the store, Montana Harvest, for your appointment. It's very interesting. We spend a lot of time trying to see what's going on. Also, My Magic Mud is now in stock, so go ahead and get that. That's for the teeth whitening. Polishes, whitens, and detoxes your teeth, and it really works.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, to say the least, this is going to be an interesting show today, I'll tell you. This is just a thing that has been bothering me. The governor from Vermont, Peter Schulen, made a statement, and it's not the drug dealers south of the border that are our biggest challenge. It's the drug dealers that are FDA approved, selling this stuff in every pharmacy of America, and he's talking about OxyContin. The sad thing about this drug, it's $11 billion industry, and it's now been approved for kids to take. If you ever watched a commercial on TV, the first commercial is about a new drug that's out. The second commercial is about class action lawsuits against two or three of them. And this is the drugs that have been approved by the FDA, saying they were safe, the same drugs that are being taken off the market because they're killing people. I would say this, the FDA is so morally bankrupt, they need to just, take these guys out and take them to the island, the Bikini Islands where it's so radioactive that they can fry. You don't do that to kids, especially young kids that are like... They've been approved for kids 9 and 10 years old, and they're on drugs. OxyContin is an extremely powerful opiate, and that is so addictive, and it's something that you do not want to be taking. So with that being said, I'm still kind of pissed off about this, but we'll get on with the show.
I can't picture you being pissed off, Joe.
I can't either. I don't understand this, But if you don't want your kids taking opiates, really. No. I mean, it's not the way to go. This is you might as well just be doing heroin, So anyway, Brian, and also we are open. There's some people who will be calling in. I think that so I think they have the number 652-5254. So let's get on with the show. And how are we going to start this?
Well, let's go ahead and start with Brian. Brian, you want to start out?
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me back on the show. I really enjoyed the show last time. Had a great response, and I know you guys had a lot of questions and answers at Montana Harvest, and I guess I'll just talk a little bit about myself. Everyone's favorite subject is herself, but I do it so that you can have information about me. And what I do is I'm a clinical reflexologist. I do acupressure, and I do a form of what's called Gong Healing. I get really spectacular results with people, working on people through the feet, through lymphatic system, blood system, spine, face, people that have chronic pain. My favorite people I love to work on are people with really chronic conditions, people that seem to have hit the wall with whatever therapies they're seeking. So they start going out there and shopping and looking for alternatives, whether it be supplements or body workers, and sometimes they come in my door and they wound up getting, for the most part, pretty extraordinary relief. So I love working on people that have MS, lupus, fibromyalgia, Lyme's, people that have stroke, people that have arthritis, rheumatoid, osteo. I love working on people with gout. I give them tremendous relief. So I guess I consider myself different because I don't really know that I'm different because I myself haven't had a lot of body work, but I've had people that say they've been all over the world and had many different treatments, and they say there's nothing quite like me. I think everyone's unique in their own way. So with that being said, I do work from the feet up in reflexology, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about how people can sort of self-treat their feet. And one of the ways is through a thing called people, this is through structure, and I work through structure, and one of them is called, there's a very interesting thing your feet can do, and it's called pronation or supination. And Tammy, our co-host here, has kind of went through that, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you found.
Well, one of the things that I found so impressive with you, Brian, is that not only does he treat you at the time, but then you try to find out so it doesn't come back. So, which was really interesting about the pronation and supination. How do you say it?
Supination.
Supination, sorry. So the whole key is to find out what the key problem is, what caused it in the first place, and then how to correct it so it doesn't come back. And in the meantime, you're working on the situation and trying to get it back on track, because it causes so many health issues when your back is out, your feet are out. It kind of snowballs, I think.
Sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about what pronation and supination are. So many people like to talk about arch support, and they like to talk about maybe ankle support, but a lot of people don't know about a thing called heel support. So that when we're walking, the first thing that tends to hit the ground is our heel. So for whatever reason, our heel will roll either to the outside or to the inside. And so our ankle is a joint right above that, and our ankle just tends to do what the heel tells it. So if it's rolling to the outside, the ankle will roll up to the outside. If it's rolling to the inside, the ankle will roll to the inside. Now that might not seem like much, but this is the base of our structure. If we're a tower, we can imagine ourselves a tower, and we're off even an inch at the base of a 100-foot tower, then how much are we going to be off at the top of the tower? We're going to be off by 10 feet, and that torque is going to travel up the body, and it's very predictable. So how do you, let's just kind of take it back to the basics again. How do we know if we're pronating or supinating? What are some of the signs? Well, we can have things like plantar fasciitis. We can have things like metatarsalitis, where they call it ball of fire pain in the ball of the foot. We can have swollen ankles. We can have swollen knees. So what does it look like when we're having, how would one identify that? Well, if you've ever seen anyone, and I don't mean any disrespect, but some people they'll say you walk a bit like a duck. In other words, your feet are kind of walking outwards, or you have this thing that's called knot-kneed, where the knees kind of press inwards. That's often the result of pronation or supination. And you may be doing it ever so slightly. So if you look down and you see yourself walking in your natural gait, and you notice that one foot kind of flicks out a little bit, well, that little bit of flicking is actually a twist that's twisting all the way up your leg, all the way into your hip, and into your back. And by getting your feet into proper alignment, you can not only prevent knee injuries, but you can prevent endless and needless knee surgeries. Dr. Wheel is a big champion of this, but it goes far beyond that. We're talking endless and needless hip surgeries, and back problems, neck problems, headaches, and even swelling can come down to the body. So people tell me, they say, well, Brian, I don't want to wear orthotics. And I say, well, this isn't about orthotics. And if we really define orthotics, shoes themselves are an orthotic. And they say, well, I wear good shoes. And I say, well, lots of people wear good shoes. And so what happened was the shoe industry became kind of competitive. They became concerned, and they wanted to figure out how to get people to last longer, to feel better. And they're the ones that really started studying this, and they determined that it's really an issue of the heel. So they made shoes in many lines. Let's take, for instance, Brooks, Asics, New Balance, Chacos, for sandals. So they design them with a deeper heel cup, and then they have medial posts that go along the side of the Achilles tendon, that as you plant, it will stop your foot from rolling inside or outside. And so that makes your feet look, as you look down, you'll be seeing that you're walking straight, and that starts realigning your whole body. So the point is that you may have a favorite brand of shoe that you like, but inside those brands there are certain lines in the shoes. In other words, I'll give you an example like Brooks for guys. They probably have 30 or 40 pairs for guys, but there's probably about 5 or 6 of those that really correct for pronation and supination. And then it's always good to go to a reputable shoe dealer. My 2 favorites are Time Out Sports and West Park Plaza. And Cindy she's wonderful over there, and she's been an owner over there 30 years. They have several podiatrists that refer people over there, probably 3 or 4 people a day to help them with this. And then Trade Home in the mall, and I love Bethany. She really helped out you guys yesterday, and she really went over backwards.
23 pair of shoes?
Yeah, 23 pairs of shoes. Sometimes, and you need people who are able to look at this and identify it. And sometimes the shoe experts are really good. And I love Bethany over at Trade Home Shoes in the mall. That's close to Center Court, and then Time Out Sports over there. So those are the guys. So when I work on people, I say, look, one of the skills I have is I take off sometimes radical amounts of swelling off people. And if they're still pronating or supinating, they're going to have these bulging veins. They're going to have varicose veins. They're going to have swelling. I take that off, but they come in week after week, and I started saying, how do we really fix this? I want people to be fixed. I want them to be, I hate to use the word cure, but to such a level that they're not bothered by these problems anymore. So it's really about getting the shoes. And if it's all about magical shoes, then I'd be out of a job, because there's a lot more to do besides that. But this is really how we get things going in my world, and I would hope in everyone's world.
Well, we're talking about there's so many people that have had knee replacements, hip surgeries, and it seems to me that it would be totally unnecessary if they go through the protocols, getting the right shoes and letting the body restructure and create homeostasis, especially on a skeletal structure. Would you agree with that, or is there, I'm out of line here?
Well, and I always tell people to seek the advice of a medical professional. And, I love DOs, Doctor of Osteopathies. I think they're kind of, and I love many chiropractors, and I love podiatrists. I especially love them because I work with feet so closely, and reflexology and acupressure. So I would definitely, you'd want to get a diagnosis if you're pronating or supinating, and get their recommendation. And you can also go get, advice from shoe stores to find out if you really are, and they can help you correct that, and to say what pronation and supination really do. In my world, in my opinion, we're talking massive structural problem. We're talking swelling in the legs. We're talking bulging veins. We're even talking cross torque going through the body. And I can look at people and predictably say, you may have problems here. And they say, actually, I do. How did you know that? Because this cross torque that goes through the body from this twist goes through the organs. It goes through the body. It causes swelling. And if the ankles and the knees are getting weakened, your chances of falling going way up and getting surgeries because of accidents that this can prevent are dramatically reduced. So yes, preventing surgeries, absolutely.
What about for athletes? There's a lot of athletes that are runners or joggers. I could really see a problem here if that's the case, if their feet aren't aligned correctly.
Well, I've met many people who don't understand the alignment process, and so they're active runners or joggers, and they're doing a lot of exercise. If you're pronating or supinating, you're actually compounding the problem. You're creating damage. And so people will all of a sudden, they'll be fine and healthy until they're jogging until they're 30 or 40, and then all of a sudden they find that literally all their joints are worn out, or they have just, they didn't smoke, they didn't drink, they were vegetarians, they took their supplements, they're jogging, they just fall over dead of a heart attack, because this cross torque can go through the heart and cause, sudden heart attacks. It can do that. So athletes are a particular concern because they're more active. So they need to be particularly careful in making sure that they get the right shoes and they're not pronating or supinating, especially when they're running.
Okay. Go ahead. Did you have a question or no?
Well, I was just going to say that the feet are like your foundation. So if something's wrong with your feet, I know when my feet are tired, my whole body aches, really.
Yeah.
It just makes your whole body tired.
Well, and I like to think about a lot of, you don't have to be an architect or anything, but you know that there's a foundation to a house. And if the foundation isn't level in a house, then what happens? The walls are going to sag and the roof is going to leak. And our body is no different. We are governed by the laws of physics. So if we're not level and straight in the feet, our body is going to, the sides walls are going to sag, and the roof is going to leak. So it's a great way, it's a great metaphor to do it. The neat thing about this is it's very easy to fix. And if you go outside the normal routes of fixing this with shoe companies, I really love the Foot Center out in Shiloh, Dr. Edinger out there. He's a newer podiatrist in town, but he supplies these special braces. They're very small, form fitting, and they are miracle workers for people who are very advanced pronators and supinators. So there's even help for that without surgery.
And I know, like when we were looking at shoes, sometimes you can find the right shoe, but then you need a little help from an insert of some sort. Sometimes it's not just the shoe. Sometimes you need the shoe plus a little help from. Is that correct?
That's correct. Let's say that you had a shoe that claimed to be very corrective for pronation or supination. This is a wonderful point. So you would go online and you'd say, okay, I'm looking for shoes that are correct for pronation or supination. I find this line, everything's good. That's not necessarily true because everyone's different. Your structure's different. The reason you pronate and supinate may not necessarily be in the heel. So There's a brand of shoes out there called Vionics, and every single shoe in this line, it's about 120 different types of shoes, everything from boots to dancewear to dresswear, is they're corrective. But I've seen people that pronate and supinate, and they get in these shoes and they do nothing. And then they'll get into a pair of Asics or New Balance or Brooks, and they have to go through the shoes and have someone who's trained and knowing what this looks like and see the correction, because no two shoes fit the same person. So, and occasionally, yes, sometimes even though the shoes are corrective, they'll need additional support, and that's where your shoe experts can really come in handy.
When I went to the, I went and got some new shoes and an insert. You were showing me. And, my left hip was bothering me just a little bit, every once in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what, nothing. I mean, it just straightened that thing right out.
It's amazing, people have, they'll have herniations in the back, and they'll have hip pain,
yeah.
bursts of pain, and within a month, many people, they experience extraordinary decrease in pain.
Okay, talk about herniation as far as disc and stuff. I mean, how does that affect? Is that from the torque of the of what the body's doing?
Well, it's not always predictable, but I would say this, that I will see, at least in my world, I see a relationship between how bad people are pronating and supinating and possible back injuries, including and up to scoliosis, what they call idiopathic scoliosis. So meaning that it's kind of an adult onset scoliosis. We weren't born with it, but due to this cross torque, it can bend the back out.
And it does.
And it does.
And it does.
It does.
What about the arches of the foot? Does that have any reflection on what kind of orthotic you would have to have? Or does that bear, because I know you said the heel, but does that have any bearing as far as the arch?
Well, I can tell you what I've seen. I've seen people when they get into neutral, and that's where your feet are pointing forward through shoes and inserts. And people with, even myself, I have very flat feet. Now, when you get into neutral, the shoes that are designed for neutral, they have virtually no arch support. Now, many people are interested in arch support, and you would think that arch support would be something that would give you back your arches if you have flat feet. And people with flat feet tend to have more foot problems. They tend to ache and hurt more. But what I found is that the feet actually start reforming arches. It's very interesting because they're not twisting. Because when you're pronating or supinating, the actual foot is twisting. If you can imagine taking maybe a board and then twisting it one corner and twisting the other, a piece of rubber, that's what your feet do. And over time, you'll go from a size 6 to a size 7 to a size 8. And many people experience that as the foot continues to flatten out. So when we take this twist off the foot, the arch tends to reform. Now, people that already have naturally high arches, they're lucky. So I don't see arch support as something that's really beneficial, because if someone has very flat feet and they put arch support in there and their foot is twisting, it's as though you're driving a nail into steel. It causes plantar fasciitis, and that's a very painful condition, and it's oftentimes very easily remediated with proper shoes.
Okay, well, we have to go to a break right now, and we'll be right back.
If you have any questions, feel free to email the show. Send your questions to letsstayhealthy71@gmail.com. More of Let's Stay Healthy coming up next on News Talk 730 KYYA.
Hey guys, it's Kimmy with Montana Harvest, letting you know we only bring in the highest quality of products we can find. We actually have access to a lab down in Arizona through a nonprofit foundation where we can have our products tested so we can guarantee only the best for our customers. So if you want to reclaim your health, stop in today at 1710 Grand Avenue. If you live out of town, we send things out daily. You can call for a mail order or any questions you have at 406-252-6969.
Hi, Kimmy. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm absorbing my nutrients. Is there a product at Montana Harvest that could help me with that?
I'm glad you asked, because actually there is. It's called Absorb. It has prebiotics, probiotics, enzymes, and it actually clean out the plaque in the small intestines, and that's where your villi absorb all your nutrients. So if you have plaque buildup, of course you're not going to absorb any of your nutrients because there's plaque blocking that, and this will help clean that out.
And how do I take it?
You just take 2 capsules every day on an empty stomach.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a wonderful product, and it also has D3 in it too. And I know that I've noticed a difference taking it. So come to Montana Harvest and we will give you the help you need.
This is Lachelle Meidinger. If you would like to have a live blood analysis, please call me at 406-855-4258.
Kimmy, I know that you've been taking ImmuneXL for over a year now. Can you tell us what kind of health benefits can people expect?
ImmuneXL is for optimal cellular function, so it's going to help and heal someone at the cellular level. It'll help with candida, yeast, bacteria. I know people that have had problems with cancer that have overcome that. I know that my health benefits, I have a lot more clarity thought-wise. I know that I rarely ever get sick. I mean, in over a year, I can't even count probably 1 or 2 times that I got a cold or something. And I don't ever want to be without it because I know that my health has improved from taking it. So come to Montana Harvest and we will give you the help you need.
Tammy, I know you've had some wonderful results with Super Silica.
Yes, I have. I had bone spurs, trigger fingers, and varicose veins.
Wow, you were a real mess, weren't you?
Yes, I was. But thanks to Super Silica, I've improved in every area, and the varicose veins are almost gone.
How do you use it?
I just put it in water, drink it, and put it topically on my skin. We carry it at Montana Harvest for $39.99 for 2 months supply. Come and see us at 1710 Grand Avenue in Billings, Montana. Or call 406-252-6969.
Hi, this is Dr. Simone Webb. Let me help you have a healthier and happier future. Call me at Big Sky Functional Medicine, 406-321-2708.
And we're back with Let's Stay Healthy on News Talk 730 KYYA. Let's Stay Healthy brought to you by Montana Harvest Natural Foods and Supplements, 1710 Grand Avenue in Billings, right next to Mattress King.
Okay, we're back. I'll just give you a little story here. I was, I know that, like my back or the lower back at times had been bothering me, but I went to see Brian, and I noticed one thing I did notice after he worked on my back is that I had a slight curvature in the back, probably from the shoes I was wearing, but I mean, I don't have that anymore. I mean, it's straight as an arrow. And a chiropractor looked at it and said, your spine's fine. So what do you think?
Well, I do acupressure, and I suppose I do it in a different way that wouldn't resemble traditional acupressure. And I don't know that there's books out on just what acupressure is. It's ancient, perhaps 10,000 years old. Some say it originated in China. Some say it originated in India. I think whatever modality used, it's based on the practitioner and how they do it. So as I started working up the body, I expanded out of reflexology, and I noticed that I could get a lot of swelling out of people and help with bulging veins, varicose veins, to a therapeutic relief to a high degree. I have to use the words therapeutic relief. And so as I started going up, then I started working on people's backs, including your back, Joe, which, I can't diagnose or say that, but if you say there was curvature, there probably was. And I had
there was.
I had before and after pictures, and it did appear from from looking at it that it was curving. You haven't been medically diagnosed as curvature, and if you had medical diagnosis that says there's not curvature there anymore, then that's wonderful. And I work with many people to get tremendous therapeutic relief from things like scoliosis. So upwards, I've had one, I worked on a doctor's wife in front of him, and he says, that's incredible. How do you do that? I said, I don't know how I do it, but I just do. So periodically I'll get that kind of relief with people. So working through the spine, and supposedly it's maybe impossible to do what I do, but no one ever told me that. And so I never got to listen to the naysayers. And so I just do what I do. And if you got good relief, that's wonderful to hear that. And we had pictures, and they do speak for themselves. So.
Well, I've seen many pictures of some of the work that you've done, and I mean, it speaks for itself. So, I mean, you really don't have to say much about that because you can see the results. So.
That's great. And I worked on you as well, if you want to share a little bit what I have.
Well, I have the varicose veins, I'm sure, from the previous shows, people are aware. But I could only take it so far with herbal treatments. And after that they just are still there. They were lighter, but I couldn't get past the main lines there, and I did have a little bit of pain, from that. And now I find out, obviously, it's from my shoes and how I stand and not being in neutral. But you worked on me, and they really are starting to fade now. And I know that just from the massaging and the working and whatever it is that you do, it is definitely what you do. It for sure is helping. So I do appreciate that, and we're going to continue on working with that. I think we have some before pictures, so it'll be interesting to take some after pictures.
Yeah. Well, it's funny people say that, because when I have a number of clients, and so other people ask them, they go, gosh, I got really good relief from this and that and this. And they say, well, what does he do? And they're like, So it's difficult to describe. It's basically, it comes down to light touch. And then some people have described me as a type of psychic surgeon. I don't know what the word psychic means, but there's some people out there that have a gift for pulling physical toxins out of the body. When I say physical, this is stuff that you can physically see, you can physically feel, and they can be anywhere from a pinhead to several inches long. And when these things come out, much like some of the psychics, there's frauds out there, of course. And when some of these things come out during the process, people experience extraordinary levels of relief from many supposedly untreatable or only treatable through continued medication efforts. And I try and get people as well as they can so that they can be off as much as they can. That's my goal.
Well, I definitely had some stuff coming off of my legs. I felt it for myself. I saw it for myself. And so I guess that's the proof right there. I mean, what do you say to that?
Yeah.
Do you find that, well, like, because I saw the crystals come out as well. And the inflammation process, I mean, it's the inflammation process is there for a reason. I mean, it's to protect organs and cells. But at the same time, when this stuff is coming out, it's kind of like, I mean, I worked overseas for a long time. I never saw anything really coming out of people, but I'm seeing it coming out here now. And which leads to the big thing, what might that be? I mean, absolutely, there are toxins, but when you got crystal formations coming out of the body, something's going on in a good way as it comes out, because I've talked to people that have come in and talked to me that have gone to see you, and they're feeling much better. We can only take it so far nutritionally, and then something else has to kick in.
Well, that's what I tell people. I say that, of course, environment, your lifestyle, your stress, your diet, and the supplements you're taking are all factors. And maybe another factor that people don't take into account is, people are familiar with a thing called massage. And in the old days, whatever that was, maybe 100 years ago or 5,000 years ago, reflexology was something that was used pretty much ubiquitously throughout the world. And, we could just call it a basic foot rub. If your feet feel good, you feel good. So this is called body work, and I use body work from what I call a healing method. So it's a method that I seem to have just kind of come into and helped develop. And I guess we got a call here.
Welcome to Let's Stay Healthy. You're on the air.
Hi, my name is Cherise Settlemeyer, and I'm calling in because Brian Bird was going to be on there this morning.
Yeah, he's here.
And
I think.
Hi, Cherise. You're on the air.
Hi.
Hey, thanks for calling. This is Mrs. Senator Settlemeyer from Northern Nevada, and she's an amazing person. She's a real estate mogul in Northern Nevada, and she's a rancher, and she's just an all-around amazing person. So we got to be friends over the last few years, and I had the opportunity and I'm coming back down to work on her here next week, and I had the opportunity to work on her a couple months ago, and she got some pretty extraordinary results, and she was pretty impressed with what I do, so she's been kind of following me, and we're friends, and we talk a lot. So she's also, I just told you, congratulations, you just became was it the president of the Board of Optometry in Nevada?
Vice President. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, congratulations on that too. That's really awesome. So they might be listeners here might be interested in how you felt or what I did, and maybe give a little description. And I understand you had a little bit of curvature in your back, maybe, and you might have got some relief with that.
Yes, what I came to see Brian for was I don't even know what you'd call it. I felt like I had a hitch in my back on the lower hip on my right side, and it felt like I needed to be adjusted, and I just didn't have time. And when I went to see Brian, he was so gracious to get me in, and it's gone. But I also feel like I have more ability. I have so I just woke up. I wanted to call in for Brian's show, but I just felt like a new woman, and I'm going to be 52 years old, and I was just starting to think that, well, maybe this is just how it's going to be. You get older, and it's just amazing what he did.
Well, she's 52 going on 32. I mean, my goodness, if someone saw your picture, you are stunning. You're a beautiful lady, and you're doing great.
Thanks, Brian.
Was your hip bothering you?
Yes, it felt like it was stuck, like it was glued or something.
It's not stuck anymore then, or?
No, and I had pain radiating from it, but I thought I needed to see a chiropractor, but I didn't. I just saw Brian, and I don't know how to describe what he does. It's not massage. It's not adjusting. It was just amazing.
Well, that's always good to hear. Mm-hmm. Was your back? Was there some kind of scoliosis or curvature there too?
I didn't realize it because you don't look at your own back, but I guess I did. I saw the before and after pictures, and that was pretty bracing to see that.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks for calling, Teresa. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you and working on you here in about a week.
Thank you, Brian. Have fun.
Thanks so much for calling.
I had a question for you, Brian.
Sure.
I know when you work on people, you use, olive oil, and you were using the alcohol?
Yeah. Well, I was using rubbing alcohol, but, really, I can use it a little bit, but there can be some toxic side effects from isopropyl alcohol. So, if you want to use alcohol, I suppose grain alcohol would be a better choice. But they have this, material or this substance that comes in, I guess it's a gallon jar, and you can make, I don't know how many gallons, many, many gallons. So it might seem like it's, the price might seem a little higher, but what you can make with it is very comparable to your average toxic cleaner, and it's called Genie's Green Max Pro. And it says one of God's solutions, and it says for your body, your children, your home, your plants, and your animals. And they mean it. I even use it as a mouthwash, so it gets rid of fungus and mildew. You can use it in your mouth. It's all natural ingredients. It's got, it's got kelp, tea tree, turmeric, geranium, eucalyptus, grapefruit seed extract, and that's what it uses, and it is very effective. So I use it for what I call these pathogens that I find on the skin. So when I talk about that, I do a form of Chinese skin brushing using basically a stiff towel and warm fluid and cleaner. And I have chosen to use this cleaner. And when I say pathogens, we're talking about red blotches coming off the skin. We're talking about people that they think that their age spots are moles. I had one guy that came in who had a very large mole in his chest, and I showed him, I said, well, how long have you had that? And he says, well, maybe about 25 years. And I said, I don't think that's a mole. And he says, you're kidding me. And we wiped about 3/4 of it off. How do you wipe off a mole? Because they're not moles, many of them. Some of us are born with them. We don't simply just get moles. These are pleomorphic pathogens, meaning they can imitate our skin tissue and cause great dysfunction. They can be on our body. So we want to be real aware to be taking lots of baths with lots of salt and using things like Genie's Max Pro. And if you come in, I'll show you how to use this on your own body and make yourself look 10 years younger.
The Genie Max Pro is kind of unique. This woman had chemical sensitivities, and she used to live in Bozeman. She now lives in Hawaii. She had to get away from. She almost died 3 times. One thing I like about hers is beyond organic. It is like the best of the best, and we talk about it on the show every once in a while. But let me ask you about on this Genie Max Pro. Would that be in replacing the alcohol? Not the alcohol, but the rubbing alcohol?
Yes, I find it a wonderful replacement, and probably there's only some issues. You want to look at the ingredients, and there are some people that are allergic to geranium. So, and geraniums, I believe, are toxic to cats. I think cats don't do so well with geranium. I could be wrong about that. I'm not a cat expert. But so you want to, like anything, you want to look at the ingredients. If you're going to be putting this on your body, make sure that you don't have any allergies. Some people do to herbs and oils. So, but very clearly list the ingredients. Yes, it replaces alcohol in my world. It seems to do an amazing job.
That's great, because that's what we were looking for. We were looking for something that would replace that you could use on a daily basis.
Yes.
But then you also follow up with the olive oil.
I do. I use, many people that do body work. And traditional foot reflexology does not use oil. They'll use like a talc. But I use olive oil, and I find that olive oil is also a cleaner because of the acids in it. So it acts as a cleaner. I'm not interested in putting oil into your skin. I'm interested in taking things off of your skin. And some of that we've hypothesized may be the substance called biofilm. And so biofilm opens up a whole nother bag of worms here. So
you want to define that? We don't really know yet, but how would you define biofilm?
Biofilm is the National Institute of Health has said that possibly 60 to 80% of the people have biofilm colonies. Let's just break it down into probably the most simple way to look at it. Biofilm is basically, these are the bad guys. It's a group of bad guys, pathogens that get together and they work together in a buddy system in your body. Think of a beehive colony. where can biofilm be? It can be in your digestive tract, it can be in your nasal tract, it can be in your throat, in your teeth, in your mouth, hair, blood, nails, and skin. Okay, so basically the entire system. It can be found in the environment, like when you take a bath, you'll notice there's a bit of a kind of a scummy ring around it. If you're not using any soap, that's a solicitation of biofilm coming off the skin. Things like the magic mud for mouth can be very good for pulling biofilm off. If you want to know more information, we could talk for probably days and days about what biofilm is, but know that it's probably one of the main culprits for chronic disease and conditions that are difficult to treat, that antibiotics only make it stronger, and that is not really being fully recognized as of yet. There's some hospitals that are starting to pick up on it, some doctors that are, but it is an emergent threat. If we think about pathogens out there that are, they talk about antibiotic resistant, this is multiples of pathogens working together synergistically, and they are completely antibiotic resistance. And as a matter of fact, if you take antibiotics, it can make them even stronger. Well, they're very dangerous, and they're becoming an emerging threat.
I know we've had some customers or people that I've talked to that have had like hip replacements, the metal. Well, they specifically find the biofilm on those areas. So that can be, hard for them to accept that particular metal or whatever they do to put in there for their hip or whatever.
Biofilm can cause so many dysfunctions, it's not even funny. Biofilm is also part of what's called Lyme disease. They talk about biofilms and Lyme disease. So I'm going to provide over at Montana Harvest, it's called the Horowitz-Lyme's MSIDS questionnaire. So if you feel like that you may have biofilm or be subject to Lyme's disease, and they're not terribly they're not far apart, but there's a questionnaire here that you could probably take to your medical provider and say, look, I have all these symptoms. It's called the Horowitz-Lyme's MSIDS questionnaire, and you'll be able to get that at Montana Harvest. And then there's another one called Dr. Ettinger, Dr. Ettinger, Biofilm Protocol for Lyme and Gut Pathogens. And it's pretty advanced stuff, but it gives information about what it really is and treatment protocols and labs that test for it to understand. The important information to know is that everyone's biofilm can contain different pathogens. There's a host of them, so we need to know which ones you have inside of you to get the proper treatment. Some of these are supplement-based that Montana Harvest carries. Actually, many of them are. So we're developing that. We're developing a protocol in places where you can go to get tested.
Well, let me ask you this. I never bought into the thing that ticks are the sole carriers of Lyme's. It seems to me like, what do they do? They compartmentalize? I don't think so. I think that there might be other organisms out there that can actually cause that. What do you think?
So the idea is this, that many people think that Lyme's disease is a single pathogen. And so it turns out that Lyme's disease is what's composed of co-infections. So one of them that's the most common one is called Borrelia, and they work with other pathogens in a synergistic fashion, a buddy system. So the other problem with them is that they can be in both what's called a spirochete, a cyst, and they can be in the active bacteria form. So if people are off getting tested for Lyme's disease using things like Western blot, this is one of these diseases, unfortunately, that will turn back more false negatives than false positives, because if it's in a cyst form, then the test results come back false negative, which is a real problem. So there is help out there for that, and getting proper testing. Testing is so important, because Lyme's disease is called the great imitator. In the CDC, this is on their website, says 300,000 people will get it this year alone. Only 10% will get diagnosed. So why is that? Because it can very much look like lupus, MS, fibromyalgia. Chris Christopherson, the famous actor, he had Alzheimer's. He was diagnosed about 4 years ago. He was advancing rapidly, and someone said, hey, you need to get tested for Lyme's disease, and he did, and now he's getting treatment, and guess what? No more Alzheimer's. How interesting is that?
Where do you get tested, Brian?
Probably one of the best places to start is go to Dr. Klinghardt. That's Klinghardt, and go to his website, and you can start getting information about the tests that they do and their group does. They're in Washington State, and they have the Sophia Institute, and they also have, they refer people out to maybe closer testing areas here, but he has advanced testing, and that's where Chris Christopherson went to. And you really need to get tested.
Okay, we have to go to break, and we'll be right back.
If you have any questions, feel free to email the show. Send your questions to letsstayhealthy71@gmail.com. More of Let's Stay Healthy coming up next on News Talk 730 KYYA.
Hey guys, it's Kimmy with Montana Harvest. If you want a whiter, brighter smile, come in for My Magic Mud. It's an all-natural whitening tooth powder that's vegan, cruelty-free, gluten-free, non-GMO, and fluoride-free that cleans, polishes, whitens, and detoxes your teeth. And it works. After one use, I saw results. If you want some My Magic Mud, stop in today at 1710 Grand Avenue in Billings. Open Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Sunday, 10 to 6.
Hey, Kimmy, I saw some new body butter on the shelf. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, that is an organic mango body butter. It is amazing. I love it because, you know, when you take like shea butter or coconut oil or something for your skin and it leaves a little bit of a greasiness, there's absolutely none. It soaks right in. It's moisturizing. My skin has been so much more soft, and the owners actually came from Colorado and they hand make it themselves.
Oh, and what is the fragrance? Does it smell like mango?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's very light and clean and fresh, just like a mango.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Come to Montana Harvest and we will give you the help you need.
Hi, this is Dr. Simone Webb. Let me help you have a healthier and happier future. Call me at Big Sky Functional Medicine, 406-321-2708.
Lachelle, I understand you've been taking the Oceans Alive too. What are some things that you've been noticing?
Actually, I've noticed several things. So I've noticed much more energy. I've noticed much more clarity. I've noticed that even my overall essence, you know, because sometimes when you wake up in the morning, you're groggy and you have to really get yourself going for the day. I wake up just raring to go. That is a true sign of energy.
How much do you take a day?
I take 15 drops. I put it in water and I drink it just like a green drink. So 15 drops every morning, like clockwork, and it makes my day absolutely phenomenal because I know that I'm going to be happy and healthy.
That's awesome. Come to Montana Harvest and we will give you the help you need.
Hey Tammy, tell us all about the new tropical skincare.
It's called Cocoa Mango Anti-Aging Moisturizer. It goes on smooth, soaks right in while erasing your fine lines and wrinkles.
What is it made of?
Coconut oil, cacao butter, lipovitamin C, mango butter, aloe vera, silica, cell food, and essential oils.
Is it completely organic?
It's organic, vegan, and non-GMO. And if you can't eat it, don't wear it.
If you want to check out the Cocoa Mango Anti-Aging Moisturizer or any other product, stop in at Montana Harvest, 1710 Grand Avenue in Billings. We're open Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday, 10 to 6.
This is Lachelle Meitinger. If you would like to have a live blood analysis, please call me at 406-855-4258.
And we're back with Let's Stay Healthy on News Talk 730 KYYA. Let's Stay Healthy brought to you by Montana Harvest Natural Foods and Supplements, 1710 Grand Avenue in Billings, right next to Mattress King.
Okay, we're back. We're with Brian Bird, Tammy, and we have, I forgot to mention Jeremy. He's here with us today. If you want to have more information about Brian, or if you wanted to see him, you can just go into Montana Harvest. Go to Facebook. It's Montana Harvest, and we'll have all the information on how to get a hold of him. Also, you can go if you want to read more about this, about different types of natural healing. You can go to earthcures.com. That will give you a lot of information, and you can go to. Okay, you're on the air. Can I help you?
Hey, Joe, this is Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Brian, when you told me about doing that swishing with your sunflower oil,
Yes, sir.
I found a old sheet about the way to do that is you rinse with the oil, but after you're done, you use half a teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of sea salt to clear out the oil.
Sure.
That's what I've been doing with that taste in my mouth.
Has that been helping you, Gary?
Yeah, I think that's really good. So you may, when I come in to see you, I'll bring you a copy of that so you can show it to other people.
Absolutely. Sounds good, Gary. So you're getting some good relief with that then?
What's that?
Are you getting some help with that protocol then?
Yeah, I think that really cleans your mouth, you know.
Yeah, no, it does. It came
And
out.
you don't ever swallow that, or you have to spit it out.
And for the audience, what Gary's talking about is what's called oil pulling, and you can use a variety of oils.
And the sunflower really is the best one.
So if you want to look up more information about oil pulling, just look up oil pulling. And it came out of India. There was a famous dentist that came out of there. He probably kind of brought the East to the West, and how oil pulling can actually help get biofilms out of your mouth, and even cysts out of the blood.
Anyway, I'll bring that to you when I see you.
All right, thanks for calling in, Gary. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Okay, here's a question I have. And with inflammation, there always comes fluid. I mean, usually it's the way the body protects itself. But when you're working on people, and a lot of times when these crystals come out, and we have yet to identify those crystals, I will though, is there's liquid that comes out too. It seems like the liquid is maybe thicker. The viscosity, or do you find that?
It's actually thinner. So in other words, like if I were to use olive oil in there, the olive oil has a certain thickness, so that when this, what I call liquid X, because I don't know what it is, I'm not willing to say it's biofilm, but some of it can, when I first started working people, come off people in great quantity, and then the unusual thing about the liquid is that it would look wet and viscous, even globulates and droplets on the skin, and then when you would take like paper towels or even toilet paper or towel or anything, I tried different things to, looks like it wipes off, and then you see nothing on the paper towel. So I noticed that as more of this stuff came off of people, that they started feeling a lot better. And then when I say feeling a lot better, inflammation comes off, swelling comes off, mood, memory, judgment, and the ability to track things with the mind in conversations and just general clicking was noticeably improved even after one session. So part of that is body work to try and pull it off. So there's many ways to get this off of you, and I kind of tapped into a way to use body work to get this stuff out.
I have a question, Brian. Now, can the listening audience at home do something themselves to help aid in body working, instead of always coming to see you? Not that I don't want them to come see you, but, as an additional.
And I'm constantly educating people. So when they come in there, I'm always educating people about what they can do. And I tell people that one of the most important things you can do is be in water. I find that people that spend a lot of time in water, and if you're just sitting in water in a hot tub, if you're doing walking in water, it's zero impact, and this biofilm does tend to come off. So, and unfortunately, it's kind of a double-edged sword with the chlorine and the bromine, but it does tend to be a bit of a pathogen killer on the skin too. So, and we don't want these things building up. So, pools I find are very effective. If you're at home, you can use things like, a cup of borax, which is it's not soap, it's salt, and it's incredibly antifungal. You can put a cup of borax in a bathtub, very salty bathtubs. Don't be afraid to put a pound or two of Epsom salts in a bath. Take regular baths. Use exfoliating mitts body-wide. Scrub your skin, because this isn't just about beautification. This is about cells that are imitating human flesh, and that sounds like science fiction, but there's a real famous disease called Rose-Gardner's disease, which is called sporotrichosis, and it's medically documented to imitate human tissue. So we know that this isn't science fiction. This is truth. So we want to get these things off.
Now, it's my understanding after the bath to take a shower to rinse off, because then you're going to just be sitting in those toxins that are coming out or what have you. And then always use a fresh, clean towel so that you're not using that same towel over and over, or you're going to be wiping it right back in.
That's a great point. Always use fresh, clean towels. In your laundry, always use borax. I don't care what laundry you have. Borax is neutral. It's a salt with a boron center. It's a salt. It's super antifungal. Always use fresh towels. If you have a loofah, don't continue to use those. Don't continue to have a washcloth in there. You can use Genie's Max Pro to spray down your bathtub. Make sure these fungals and these molds are not growing in the house.
Okay, I have a question. There's a lot of people that are getting knee replacements, knee surgeries, hip replacements, and a lot of them, and let's just face it, they're botched surgery, some of these people. I know countless people that come in and say, I had a knee operation, and I'm still got inflammation. I feel their knee, and there's just heat coming off that thing. What do you tell some people like that?
I've worked on people that have come right out of surgery, and I'm the doctors there I'm the reflexologist, and they have tremendous swelling. We don't want the swelling to stay in there. The doctors will start bending these hips and these knees right away, because swelling can create atrophy. The blood can't flow properly. It is protective fluid. It's trying to do the right thing. So, as far as people preventing them, I say the alignment to the shoes. And if you do have surgeries, make sure that you're listening to the show, coming into Montana Harvest, and finding out about alternative therapies that you can do to help with the swelling.
Okay, what about and we're talking about all the way up to skeletal structure, from the head to the neck, to the misalignment of the vertebrae. I mean, we're talking about everything here. Because I know mine was out. Mine, C1, C2, L1, but I broke my back as well.
Yeah, so that's.
You didn't break it; I broke it.
Right. So, I'm sorry, what was your question? It was whether I broke it or not, or I thought maybe there was a question there. No.
Not really.
Okay. So from, and as far as what I do, I work from, basically head to toe with, many different systems, alignment, structure, and they're quite striking, visible results even in the first session. So, and what's your belief about things, I say let's be objective and focused on the results. And I always tell people, whatever my theories are, or Joe's theories, or anyone's theories, focus on yourself and the results. If you're getting good results with what you're doing, go on it. If you're feeling like that you're stumbling, you're not getting what you need, come in and see Joe and Tammy. Go into Montana Harvest and come by and see me.
Yeah, one thing I want to clear up is that if you think you can reach for the stars, you can reach for them and you can touch them. A lot of times we have this preconceived notion about what our limits are. I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with it. I was over in the Philippines. I worked with psychic surgeons. Some of them are phony, baloney. But I tell you, I worked with ones that they did go inside the skin, how they did it, and I had my finger in there too. So I would say, be open to everything. Yeah. Welcome. Let's Stay Healthy. You're on the air.
Yeah. I was just listening to the broadcast. Is there any way to get a question in?
Yeah, we have 2 minutes left. Go ahead.
All right. This is just, my name's Pete, and I had some work done on my feet when I had gout by Brian. And I'll tell you what, had been treating that for some time, and he worked on my feet for a couple of 2-3 sessions, and by golly, if I haven't had another attack from that in the last 4 or 5 months. So I'm just here to say, if you've got gout out there, to go out and give Brian a try.
I appreciate this call because gout is huge, and with that uric acid crystals built up, or
and that's a whole other topic. Thanks for calling in, Pete. I sure appreciate that, and what a great run you've had there. I don't claim to treat or cure anyone, but I look for people to have longevity, and 4 or 5 months is wonderful, and I sure enjoy working with Pete. He's one of the coolest people I know besides you guys.
I want to thank you for calling in. That people want to hear that.
Yeah,
really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Pete.
Bye-bye.
Well, the thing is, when you find something that works, why question it? I mean, we're trying to do different things, kind of get past the barrier.
Well, I tell you what, and that's why I've had it with this allopathic country. People they don't have the ability to think anymore. They just react, and they're told what to do, and they do it. I don't like allopathic medicine, never gonna. And there's just better ways to go, and that's in my opinion. I mean, I've seen too much over the years, and especially working. I never saw the problems we have here. It's just. I don't know. I want to say a couple things, but I'd probably get kicked off the air. You think, Jeremy?
Yeah, you probably
He's shaking
would.
his head. He's going, yeah, you're right. Don't say it. But anyway, we want to thank you for joining us. We want Brian to thank him for joining us. He'll be back with us probably in a week or so. And thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Thanks for having me.
Remember, you can hear Let's Stay Healthy on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8:05 a.m. right here on News Talk 730 KYYA. And if you missed any part of these shows, catch the best of Let's Stay Healthy on Sundays starting at 2 p.m. Let's Stay Healthy is proudly brought to you by Montana Harvest Natural Foods and Supplements, where they believe you can reclaim your health. Don't give up. If you're willing to try new things and have an open mind, you can reclaim your health. Thank you for listening to Let's Stay Healthy right here on News Talk 730 KYYA. Now be healthy and have a great day.
The preceding was a paid commercial program. The views expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its sponsors, advertisers, staff, management, or ownership.